Hi, this is Max von Belgoy, Assistant Professor in the Museum Studies program at George Washington University, and today I'm going to talk about producing action minutes, an effective way of documenting decisions, actions, and assignments for projects, departments, and organizations. In Getting Things Done, David Allen reminds us that until you've captured everything that has your attention, some part of you will still not totally trust that you're working with the whole picture of your world. As project managers, you will need to understand the whole picture, which includes capturing all decisions, actions, and assignments in writing. You may have been tempted to rely on memory, but as you've probably discovered, as the days, weeks, and months pass, maybe even minutes pass, you forget details and begin to encounter conflicts and mistakes. Instead, document all of your decisions, actions, and assignments in writing. Develop the habit of taking notes at every meeting you have, whether it's scheduled or informal, in person or in line. It may seem tedious, but you don't want to waste your limited mental capacity on remembering these details. Save your thinking for the things that matter in project management: planning, monitoring, and evaluating. Producing minutes is a tedious chore, and groups are often struggling to find someone who will take notes. It can seem tedious because you're probably more familiar with traditional meeting minutes. Here's an example from a State Museum board meeting. You can see they're captioning lots of details about the conversations to be sure everyone's contributions are recognized and recorded. Preparing these types of minutes is hard work and often takes more time than the meeting itself. And often they aren't distributed or approved until weeks or months later, which is an obstacle for fast-moving projects. Unless it's a high-stakes decision, those details don't improve the management of projects. Instead, you'll want to use a streamlined version, which I call action minutes. Action minutes consist only of those elements that are necessary to move the project forward and to confirm decisions about the project. 5 elements are required, and they're familiar: who, what, where, and when. The first 3 items on the list relate to the individual decision, action, or assignment. They describe what to do, who will do it, and when it should be completed. These are the basic components for any decision, action, or assignment. The last 2 elements relate to the meeting: who attended and when and where was the meeting held. That puts the decisions into context and assigns responsibility for the decisions. So we've talked about the who, what, where, and when, but not why. Action minutes rarely include the why. It's optional, and if you feel you need to include it, keep it brief. Explaining why a decision, action, or assignment was made is often what makes minute-taking tedious and difficult to process. They're the element that's most subject to scrutiny and debate because they include various perspectives, points of disagreement, and unrelated topics. Those are exactly the issues that provoke conversation and will again provoke a debate in the mind of the person processing the minutes as they figure out what to write to avoid misunderstandings or misquoting somebody. Knowing why is useful for understanding the evolution of a project or history of the museum, but keep those details in your meeting notes, not in your action minutes. They're not essential for moving a project forward. Also optional is recording who was absent. If someone wasn't listed among the attendees at the meeting, you can assume they were absent. Finally, providing background on the decisions is optional. Much like recording discussions, including the history and context of an issue is not the purpose of action minutes. That's better suited for a separate report or for traditional meeting minutes. This is an example of action minutes from the Mayor and Council of Rockville, Maryland, my hometown. This page shows 2 items which involve presentations, extensive discussion, a resolution or an ordinance over a period of at least a half an hour. But these action minutes only include a brief description and the decision. As you can see, this is a streamlined version of traditional minutes focused on the actions taken during the meeting. I've only shown you a couple items from the middle of the Rockville Mayor and Council minutes. Remember, they need to be prefaced by the overall details of the meeting to provide context. All meeting minutes, whether traditional or action, are organized in a specific manner. The who, when, and where are listed at the beginning. That is, a brief title of the meeting, date, time, location, and list of decision makers and significant participants. Next, each topic of the meeting is listed as an item in the order discussed, which may be different than the agenda. Each item includes a brief title, so you can quickly identify it, then the decision, action, or assignment. For example, these are the minutes from the Board of Regents of the Smithsonian Institution, one of the largest museums in the world. This is the first page, and it opens with the name of the meeting, date, time, location, and names of the decision makers and significant participants. The order of the information will vary by the customs of each organization, but as you can see, all of the required elements are included. Moving on into the minutes to look at an item, you'll see it has a title along with a brief description of the issue and decisions. Notice the use of specific nouns and verbs. The board directed, and the committee will review. It's very clear that these are actions, not a discussion. The person who formatted these minutes also included a couple handy features. Notice in the sidebar, subjects are listed, which make it easier to locate an issue in the future. Secondly, they've attached a separate document at the end that only lists the board's decisions, another quick reference tool. These are rarely used in action minutes, but you may find these features handy for your future projects or jobs. Now that you understand action minutes, let's discuss the overall process for creating them. It's a 3-step process that begins with taking notes during the meeting. Keep these all in one place, whether it's a paper notebook or in an application. I use Drafts and Evernote on my iPad. If you need to locate your notes, you'll only need to look in one place. For all of your meetings, formal or casual, online or in person, record the title, date, time, place, and participants, and then each item as it is discussed. I note significant perspectives on issues so I can recall how we arrived at a decision, notes to myself to follow up on afterwards, but most important, I'm noting all decisions, actions, and assignments. I'll mark those with a star in the margin so I can quickly find them. To avoid misunderstandings or revisiting the issue again, I'll ask for the complete decision if something is missing, such as who will do this assignment or when should the assignment be implemented. If I am preparing the action minutes, I move on to the second step. I have a standard format with all the basic information at the beginning, followed by the decisions, actions, and assignments. Because I marked all these items with a star in my notes, I can find them quickly. When I finished, I review the minutes to be sure the next steps in the project are clear. Finally, you distribute the action minutes to all of the meeting decision makers, significant participants, and any key stakeholders, whether they attended the meeting or not. Minutes are a simple and common way of keeping others informed of the status of a project. To correct any errors I might have made, I ask for corrections, but I limit it to within a week. If I haven't heard back within that time with any corrections or objections, I assume they've been approved. Action minutes are an essential tool for managing projects, but you'll find them handy in other circumstances as well. Once you develop the habit, you'll become an even more valuable member of the team and better project manager.